And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Sobros Network proudly brings to you some in-depth movie discussion with our resident film critic, Brandon Vick.
Happy evening, everyone. The Vick's Flicks podcast is here.
Welcome back for another episode of the Vick's Flicks podcast right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. A little bonus episode for you this month. We got a couple of bonus episodes for you this month as we are gearing up for the summer blockbuster season here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. Of course, I'm your host for today's show, the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley, collectively at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. And of course, all of our work is up at NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com. Subscribe today. We were just talking, we need to sell a few more of those 2024 movie annuals, get those going back again. But check us out there. Paid subscribers get a free copy of that. $5 a month, $30 a year. Tremendous value. I'm just now remembering, I think I need to put up a paid post before long for May. Exclusive content and all that stuff. Joined as usual by the star of the show himself, the man whose namesake it bears. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association. He is a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. He's our resident film critic here on Nashville Movie Dispatch, Mr. Big Shot Brandon Vick. Brandon, how you doing today?
Mighty fine.
You
I
feeling
still
good?
got Arrington wine running through my veins.
I was about to ask, how much do you think you drank?
Well, I dabbled. Red Fox is what I had the most of.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the whole bottle, but I had...
That's a good wine.
I had a nice... Yeah, and then, I don't know if I went through a bottle, but if you kind of combine it, I don't know, maybe 1.5? I
drank 3 bottles.
But they're small, too.
Well,
Red Fox was kind of decent, but go ahead. Honeysuckle is really what, like 2 glasses?
That's yeah. And the Sweet Blues, which is what I think used to be their blackberry blueberry.
Oh.
They used to have separate. You could get blackberry and you could get blueberry. I love the blackberry. And now they've kind of combined them. And
I wonder if the Sweet Reds is like a raspberry.
It's strawberry and
it
raspberry.
is strawberry. Oh,
yeah.
I bet you that's what they did.
So I'm guessing that's what they've done. But that honeysuckle wine, for those that might not know,
that's easy.
It is back. It is delightful.
Yeah.
It goes down like juice.
It does.
It's scary.
And I made a comment about it, but I think those tariffs have hit Arrington.
Yeah. Well,
because honeysuckle's back, but it's a little bit higher than I remember. By the way, the bottle hadn't changed.
Am I crazy? I remember those bottles being like $15.
Honeysuckle?
Yeah.
It was less than 20.
Yeah.
I just remember because I remember
16.
I remember thinking $40. I got some change back and I got 2 because I would bring some home.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, they were 23 or 25.
They were $23. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I got Sweet Honeysuckle was 23. The Sweet Blues was 18 still, I think.
Oh, okay.
I could be mistaken. That was 18. And then I got a bottle of White Stag, which was really good. White wine, kind of had notes of peach to it. Yeah, our buddy Bobby
got. Okay,
yeah.
I did try some of that. That was good.
And that was $28. So.
Yeah, and I think Red Fox was 25 or 28.
We are old men. We're just sitting here. We're dedicating minutes to a podcast.
Listen, we still bought it and drank them.
to talk about the wine prices at Arrington Vineyards.
My favorite part, but you know what? It also never really affects you as much because you're bringing in your food, you got water, sodas.
Not until it's too late in my case.
Yeah, no, I just mean the price.
Oh, I thought you meant
only the price.
The wine.
No, the wine sneaks up on you.
I was slinging it back, and I'm thinking, like, this is great. I'm going to be able to keep my composure. And the next thing I know, my wife is telling me I didn't have a single glass from that bottle. And I realized
it was those Sweet Blues.
I drank the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time we were leaving, I could barely feel my face.
No,
it was once I got into the White Stag, because like you talked about, like those little bottles, they go quick, and it's really only like 2.5 glasses out of each.
Yeah.
and then I got into the White Stag, and I think I drank like 80% of that bottle. I've got a little bit left. I'm going to polish off tonight.
Oh, good.
But well, I don't want it to go bad, of course.
No.
But I was feeling pretty good. But that's like a staple of our summer, man. I don't know about you guys, but Aura and I, every May before it gets way too hot to really enjoy it, we always go out to Arrington Vineyards. It's the perfect place to watch a summer sunset. You can buy a cigar there if that's your thing. Sometimes they have food trucks there. You can pack your own cooler, take your own food. We did. Man, your wife made some carnitas that were fantastic. Some like homemade
We're having
bread.
More of those.
That we
Indian fry bread, which she got from her mama.
Yeah, that was fantastic stuff.
It's got a kick to it too. I like it.
Like all the accoutrements as well. The charcuterie, the cheese, the crackers,
there's some chips and
olives,
dip,
chips and dip. Yeah, it was a good time, man. And that for us is kind of like a sort of the rites of summer. That it's on the way. It didn't feel like summer yesterday. We were in hoodies, cloudy, cold, but it was kind of like that moment, lush greenery around us, that it did kind of make me feel like, oh, summer's right around the corner. Which ties into
sultry music.
Yeah, the nice smooth jazz. They were playing some Star Wars theme songs since it was May the 4th, but it does kind of tie into what we're talking about here today. The summer blockbuster season is upon us, and dare I say it's already begun with the release of Thunderbolts. I mean, it feels like Sinners has been a huge success.
I was going to say, sometimes it starts in April, and I know there's times where like the Fast and Furious movies have come out towards that middle to end of April, but yeah, the way Sinners is going in its third week, but Thunderbolts is, I guess, the even kickoff, but still,
even the Minecraft movie.
And that was at the beginning of April.
Yeah, so I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe we're gonna have to start bumping up our summer previews to April, I guess.
Basically, yeah. Let's just start it in February, just in case.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Did you have any more parting thoughts on Arrington Vineyards? We don't want to end that discussion.
No. I just, we somehow find an excuse to get there every year. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's raining. But I don't think we've ever gone like in the afternoon. We usually try to get there like when they open.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of worked out. I actually kind of prefer the afternoon, which I think the storm chance scared people away, but it was very nice, very open. Kids could just run and jump around. And that's basically what they did. So
yeah, they tell you no sporting equipment, but we did see some kids there with a ball.
Yeah, I had a soccer ball in my car, but I didn't bring it out because I wanted to follow the rules.
Yeah,
but
respect protocol, and then you have other people there that are not respecting protocol.
Exactly.
So
anyway, I should have ratted them out, but
you should have. Yeah,
I was chugging Red Fox. I ain't got time.
Yeah. Well, we had some of that Scarlet too.
That was okay.
Yeah.
I like the Red Fox. I think is kind of the one now, because I can't really do honeysuckle that much because it is really sweet, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
And I did get it, and I got a glass, one of those, which we brought some of those glasses home.
Really?
Those plastic ones. I don't want to make it sound like, I guess we threw just shit in the bag and went home, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Summer blockbuster starts in February. But
I know.
It's May, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, man. Before we get into the release schedule, this feels like a particularly loaded summer. Like I can't recall off the top of my head in recent years one that has just felt like every week there's something big. Now, I mean, whether it's good or not is obviously up for debate, but it feels like, man, we've got new franchise films, Mission Impossible. We've got another Marvel film, a Disney Pixar film, all kinds of stuff. So there's going to be plenty of options for people to see this summer at the movies. But this feels like the first time in a few years anyway that it's been starts in May, or really starts in April, and it doesn't really stop until August.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I think there's probably some I've already have forgotten. But yeah, off the top of my head, I think there's always something like each month. I know there's a situation where the new Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch open together over Memorial Day, which I think I read last week. The projection anyway is like they could bring the box office, like I think just like in America, like over 200 million. Which, I mean, those are different crowds. So, I mean, I could see where like one or the other, kind of not like a Barbenheimer, but, a Lilo Impossible.
Lilo Impossible, yeah.
But yeah. And then I think I'm a little bit fuzzy on what July is besides a couple of them. But I know we'll go through them. But yes, I think once the things kind of get going, because the ones off the top of my head are Mission Impossible. There's a new Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And there is a new Pixar one, Fantastic Four. Those are ones that instantly come to mind that I know will be probably some box office juggernauts. But like you said, whether all of them are good or not is up for debate.
So we have Thunderbolts in theaters now.
Right. I think it's called The New Avengers.
The New Avengers, yeah.
The New Mutants is what it's called.
the New Mutants. We can't go without me pointing out that Bonjour Tristesse is getting a wide release.
I saw that.
Add that to your summer blockbuster.
Hell yeah.
That
film. And the movie I'm going to talk about later.
Yeah.
Let's make that a double feature.
That caught me by surprise. We saw that movie last November. It's a good movie. But we saw that as a part of the
gorgeous still.
Indie Memphis Film Festival back in November. That kind of jarred me a little bit. I'm like, wait, is this the same movie?
Yeah.
But it is, yeah. There's a lot of re-releases too that Box Office Mojo has on their
like the anniversary
schedule.
stuff. Well,
Yeah.
I know we just went through a Pride and Prejudice one with Keira Knightley.
I don't know that you would consider this a summer blockbuster, but I want to ask you if you've heard anything about A24's friendship with Tim Robinson. And Paul
I've
Rudd.
heard it's funny. I heard it's cringe comedy.
Do you like Tim Robinson's comedy?
I'll be honest. I know what it is, but I really have not watched it.
I love Tim Robinson. It is surreal and crazy. This is going to show you how out of touch, but I do know who he is. But he has a show or did have a show, right? Yep,
on
think
HBO.
You should leave.
That's it. I think I saw so much about that, but never actually watched it. But I've seen clips, and I like that kind of humor. Now, I don't know if it works in like a full feature or not, which I guess is what we're going to find out. But you've got Paul Rudd in there too to help. But I'm actually really excited to see it.
May 16th says Final Destination Bloodlines is getting a limited release.
Oh, I
thought that was...
that's a nationwide thing. Matter of fact, it was filmed for IMAX.
Yeah. How do we feel about revisiting the Final Destination franchise?
I've read some positive stuff about this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, just kind of like, and I think Sean over at 615 Film and the president at Music City Film Critics, I think, had heard something about where it's really tested well, which is why it's coming out in May.
Interesting.
And so I'm kind of curious myself about it. I'm excited to see it. I'd like to do it for the Cinema Chronicles. So I hope it's good. I don't know I know I've watched them all. I don't know if any of them have been that great since maybe like the second or third one of the whole thing.
I'll admit, like, May kind of feels like a curious release for this film because this strikes me as something that would have like come out in January, been the only thing that people went to see
or
for
in
like
October,
3-4
September,
weeks.
October.
Yeah.
Maybe you try, but which I guess that's confidence that says, hey, I think. And honestly, and it's funny because there's a clown in the cornfield, which I'm hoping will be another extra podcast for these folks at Nashville Movie Dispatch. But that comes out the week before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is apparently based on that's based on a popular book.
It is a really popular book that I have not read, but I see every time I go into Books A Million. They've got it on display.
But even more importantly, it's from the director of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
How about that?
So, But yeah, I'm interested in seeing. I don't know if I'll see it in IMAX. I think our buddy Sean is, and I'm gonna try and go, but I don't know if I can do it. But I would like to see it.
Ma is getting a re-release as a part
Yeah,
of
she is.
Blumhouse's Halfway to Halloween Film
Yeah,
Festival.
there's a bunch of them. I think Megan before the sequel comes out.
I think Megan's already been re-released.
Oh, has
I think
it?
that
Okay.
was-
Maybe
was this
they
past
just
month,
did it.
Yeah. So you mentioned Memorial Day weekend, May the 23rd.
Yes.
Is when we do get Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I know you and I and our buddy Brett are planning a podcast to kind of relive the entire Mission Impossible franchise. I am currently 3.5 movies through it.
Mm-hmm.
Paused about halfway through Ghost Protocol, but
Yeah.
working through them right now. But so we don't have to get too into the weeds on the franchise, but just the feeling this being it for Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think they're gonna do all they can to go out with a bang, and I think
2 hours and 49 minutes.
yeah, it's the longest Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna do their damnedest to have a nice send off, and Christopher McQuarrie's back, who's done like the past like 3,
Mm-hmm.
and he's good buddies with Tom Cruise too. So I just feel like they're probably balls to the wall.
What do you make of the Lilo and Stitch reboot?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might be better than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
It looks like it could be entertaining and funny. Stitch looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, these remakes. I have a thing on National Movie Dispatch where I've kind of tried to keep up with most of them, and I think the last one, like Peter and Wendy, which was actually a Disney Plus movie where Jude
Oh
Law
yeah,
played.
that didn't even get a wide
No,
theatrical
streaming.
release, did
No,
it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that was good. But man, like Snow White. Oh gosh, what are the other ones? I did see where because of Snow White being a disaster at the box office, that Disney has now put a hold on doing any more live action ones. So I guess, but Lilo and Stitch will probably make $100 million, and then
They'll
they'll
be
just
like,
say,
oh,
never
people-
mind.
Yeah,
They just
people-
hated Snow White and Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. I get it.
Yeah. May 30th, we've got a reboot of the Karate Kid franchise.
Yeah, with
Karate Kid Legends.
with Ralph Macchio.
Yeah. So
I think this is trying to capitalize on Cobra Kai.
that's kind of what I was
Success.
gonna say, that Cobra Kai has been a roaring success for Netflix.
Yeah, so I
Is
think
this-
they're just trying to, and they're trying to, they bring Jackie Chan back, who was in the Will Smith or Jaden Smith one from like 2010,
Yeah.
and Jackie Chan, you can look it up. He one of his recent movies was called Panda Plan. So
Good.
I think I know why he did
listen.
this.
I don't mean to be rude, as I saw the preview ahead of Thunderbolts, and I don't have any interest in seeing this movie.
No, it's the same thing.
But Jackie Chan looks
He's old.
fucking old.
He's old. He
Looks
is old.
old.
Yeah. Now, when I get his age, I'll probably wish I could even somewhat move like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But yeah, it's the same old thing. I just feel like it's Cobra Kai fandom, and I'm sure it'll be fine, but it just doesn't seem any different. They're just Ralph coming back is cool, but it's a nostalgia thing and Cobra Kai thing. That's really all it is.
June 6th, we get From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Ana de Armas, Keanu Reeves, Norman Reedus are listed in this.
Yeah.
We're starting to get the spin-offs of the John Wick franchise. How do you feel about
It
that?
looks cool.
Yeah.
I think I like the premise. I like Ana de Armas. I kind of hate that. And maybe I'm wrong, but it does look like Keanu Reeves is in it more than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
But I guess to try and establish these spin-offs, I mean, I guess you kind of do need the man.
Got to give somebody the rub, you know.
Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as like the action and everything, I mean, it looks good. It does look right in line with John Wick, the John Wick movies. So I kind of feel like that's for a rated R movie, that kind of seems like if you just kind of stick to the plan that what John Wick's been doing, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
The Phoenician Scheme feels like a blockbuster to me, but we
Right.
don't have to
Right.
consider that. It's
Right.
the latest Wes Anderson effort, also coming out on June 6th, which I'm sure, along with Ballerina, is going to just inject some juice into the box
rock that
office.
box office.
June 13th, man, I'm telling you, there's something every week. June 13th is when
Okay.
we get the live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh yeah. I'm really. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the movie itself is probably pretty good. Another film for IMAX. There's a lot of scenes I could definitely see playing well on an IMAX screen.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get past this whole like Disney live action. It just seems so
can't either.
unnecessary.
I'm with you.
And I love the animated franchise. And it's just, and I almost feel like it might just be like a scene for scene kind of deal. Like,
Yeah.
I get it could be for a new generation. I understand that. But
Well, I mean, because we did talk about How to Train Your Dragon for an episode of the Movie Review Rewind
Yeah.
podcast that will be coming out in June.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's been that long for us.
Yeah.
But if
But
you
it
think
has.
about like 2010 to like 15 years later, there probably is an entire group of
Yeah.
children, a generation of kids that haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
So-
And again, I'm not saying it won't be a good movie. It's sort of like, well, I know that movie though. But I mean, I will probably see it just to see.
what is this A24 flick that's coming out? It just caught my eye on June 13th.
What's that? Back to Her?
Materialist with Pedro Pascal,
Oh.
Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson.
Oh, that's from the writer and director of Past Lives.
Oh,
That looks good.
okay.
Yeah, I want to see that one. That
That's
cast is enough, but that
that's-
writer, what is it?
Celine Song.
Yes.
Is that her name?
Yeah,
Well, now
I
I'm gonna-
love Past Lives. You're right. I know Song, and I was thinking it was Celine,
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
but
Past
that's
Lives
enough.
was
but
awesome.
then to go from one Oscar-worthy performance like Madam Web to Materialist, Dakota Johnson is really.
See, it's shit like this, and I'm like, don't slam Dakota Johnson for Madam Web. Like, watch her in this stuff.
Yeah, no. And Dakota Johnson, I mean, listen, there's a lot more that goes into screwing up a movie than having, I mean, Dakota Johnson could have been in a whole other world.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't think she's too pleased with that movie either. So,
No, it doesn't
and
sound
she was
like
in it.
Doesn't sound like it. June 20th, we have another sequel, 28 years later, coming out. I did not
yeah.
realize Aaron Taylor Johnson was in that.
Yeah, he looks to be, I guess, the lead because it's him and I'm assuming his son. But Ray Fiennes is in it, and there's quite a few.
Yeah.
And Danny Boyle is back, and Alex Garland wrote it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
So the original people behind it are in it. So that looks good.
That is also the release of Disney Pixar's Elio.
Yeah, I think it's Elio. I think you're right.
I have no idea what this movie is about.
It's basically a sci-fi adventure, and I think the aliens like pick him, or he goes. It's something where they think he represents Earth, and he's just a kid. I tend to really enjoy Pixar's original stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see it. I don't really know how it really is going to pan out in the big scheme of things, as apparently sequels is what really makes money, and I think Pixar plans on making more sequels. But I mean, Lightyear didn't do that well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Inside Out 2 made $1 billion.
ton of money.
So I'm glad nothing has shifted, because I think they previewed this last year. But I'm always up for what Pixar can do, especially when they release those in theaters.
And June 27th, another big week at the box office. Megan 2.0, obviously, and then we get the Brad Pitt F1 movie, which is
That F1 movie looks.
it looks
legit.
something. It looks something. Yeah.
It looks legit, and I buy Brad Pitt being. I don't know if anyone watches that Formula One show on Netflix, but I love it.
Kind of the rare. Like, we've talked a lot about like IP, big studio stuff.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like, I don't want to say an original, but it kind of reminds me of like, you just going to see classic movie star. Yeah, in a big story kind of deal.
It's from the guy that did Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But some of those scenes where he's in the car and stuff, I mean, it's going to be a high octane fuel
Yeah.
thrill ride. I'm looking forward to that one. I think Rebecca Ferguson's in it. Javier Bardem's in it.
Javier
Which,
Bardem's in it.
When
yeah.
Javier Bardem and Brad Pitt share a scene, people are going to get
Just gonna
it's going to get
explode.
messy
It's gonna
everywhere.
explode everywhere.
You thought those Minecraft movie theaters got nuts. You wait till
F1.
you wait till middle-aged women and men go see that.
That's right. July 2nd. I'm telling you, man, every week.
Now it's starting to come into focus because there's something, at least one or two, that people will flock to.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one because I'm kind of out. My wife is super in. I'm super out.
When is this? July 4th weekend?
July 2nd, 2025. So it would be
Okay.
July 4th. It is the Jurassic World Rebirth release.
So that's one of the other ones I thought about. I'm interested enough because they're going back to the basics and they're trying to get back to what the original did,
Okay.
including the island itself,
Good cast.
Scarlett Johansson
Yeah.
and Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
I love them. And who's the other one that was just in Wicked?
I don't know.
Jonathan Bailey?
Jonathan Bailey.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's who it is.
He's listed in the cast. Yeah.
And he's kind of the one that's recruited. He's
Mhm.
kind of the scientist that's recruited. So I kind of like the idea of going back to basics. As far as I know, they're not doing like Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill. Like it's just a straight up like Jurassic World, Jurassic Park movie. If that's the case and they stick to the simplistics of it, I think it could be a fun movie.
July 11th, we get Superman.
Damn.
So I mean, we
Wow.
got some heavy hitters here.
Some of these don't have any breathing room.
I'm stoked. I've never been the biggest Superman fan. Not my favorite
Yeah.
superhero, but I am kind of curious to see if this is supposed to kind of kick off a sort of reboot, a rebirth for the DC characters.
I think that's the goal.
Then I kind of want to go check this out to kind of see like where are they going with this thing.
And listen, the MCU wouldn't be the same without James Gunn and his Guardians
Yeah,
movies.
that's true.
So I'm very curious about it. It does look good. Nicholas Holt's in it. It's Lex Luthor. That's all you really need.
Yeah, fair enough. July 18th. How is this?
Okay.
How is this for a selection? I know what you did last summer.
Okay.
Smurfs.
Oh,
Lest-
with
lest we
Rihanna,
forget.
Smurfettes.
Kurt Russell and John Goodman listed among the cast as
For
well.
the Smurfs?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Hannah Waddingham too.
Oh.
And of course we can't forget Ari Aster's Eddington.
Oh, well. of
What a
course.
weekend.
What a weekend.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
What are you going to see that weekend?
Superman again.
Okay.
No. Superman will probably have that's probably at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a fan of Ari Aster. I love his stuff. He's a bold, visionary filmmaker. I was not the biggest fan of Beau is Afraid, but this also has Joaquin Phoenix in it.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro.
Emma Stone.
So, I mean, but this I think is not even classified as a horror movie.
It's classified as a comedy drama western.
Yeah. So I'm interested in that. I know what you did last summer. I have no interest in that, even though they bring back Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
I saw one preview of it and
Just said
it
I'm
didn't
done.
make me
I'm out.
it didn't make me want to see it. Like at least when they did this with Scream, there seemed to be
Yeah.
some real effort
Yeah.
behind it, but it literally looks like it's just the same movie. And I've watched that first one, and I mean it is a dumb movie. And then what was the other one?
Smurfs.
Oh, Smurfs. Oh, probably not. Yeah. But God bless Kurt Russell and John Goodman.
July 25th, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. How do you feel about the direction of the MCU after seeing
I
Thunderbolts?
think it's in good. I think they're finding their way again. I
Yeah.
think they're starting to make it more fun, but also more entertaining. And that doesn't mean that I can't oh man, when Doomsday, because we're still getting into all this multiverse, and we're going to try and get everybody we possibly can think of to come in. But I really like what Thunderbolts was saying, and I'm curious to how intimate and personal Fantastic Four can be, but still be that kind of big superhero spectacle, because that's going to be the true test. Thunderbolts has done good, and I'm not saying it won't, but Fantastic Four almost I feel like has to do better, because these are for MCU these are brand new characters that they're introducing. So I think the stakes are higher for that one.
I'm curious if we'll go through the next few weeks in August, and you tell me if Fantastic Four is probably going to be considered the end of the blockbuster season.
Okay.
August 1st, you have The Bad Guys 2, and you have the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
August 8th, you have Freakier Friday and Weapons. That is,
which does from the director Zach
Barbarian.
Yeah, oh, man. And that does look really good.
And then August 15th is about as far as I went in my notes for Nobody 2.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I kind of feel like, I don't know, are any of those really going to feel like blockbusters at that point, or are we just going to say Fantastic Four is going to wrap up the summer? Probably?
I think in the general population, Fantastic Four is probably the last of like really hyped movies that want to see, and there's been real build-up. I could see a crowd for Freakier Friday, depending with Disney. I mean, it's a different crowd, but I could see where it could make some money.
We also talked about how like these releases are just like one right after the other this summer. Like at a certain point, do you feel like Fantastic Four people are going to be like, all right, that's enough. Like we're
maybe,
done with
but
this.
I will say that July 25th. So by the time you get kind of into August, after 2 or 3 weeks, there's others could see life, and especially if people have already now seen Fantastic Four, because usually everyone is going that first weekend. Not that, there's not life afterwards, because I think, we saw that, well, Sinners is probably the most recent one in Minecraft. But The Fall Guy kind of experienced that last year. So if there's a theater life, then it's possible, and there's enough space for like something like even Freakier Friday, but even like if you go to the other end with like Weapons or something like that, then there's a crowd there for it. And again, it doesn't have to make $800 million. I do think they've kind of got a nice. I think it changes after Fantastic Four. I think there's still some. I mean, me personally, I feel like Weapons is probably one. As it gets closer, you'll be kind of really kind of chomping at the bit to see and kind of see what it's all about, because their marketing so far has been really good by not doing too much. And I kind of feel like that's kind of how Longlegs played it. I would like for something like that. And the way they did Barbarian and kept what they did, then good for them. But yeah, I mean, in general, as far as like the heavyweights of it, sure. Fantastic Four, I mean, Nobody 2 sounds fun, but that's not even, I'll even say even with 28 years later, I mean, there's some that's, it's limited on that run just because of the genre and the choices, that fall in between, the week ahead of it and the week after it.
What are you looking forward to the most?
I am looking forward to Final Reckoning. I think because I've been watching these Mission Impossible ones, I'm like, all right, man, let's just do let's do it.
Yeah.
That one comes to mind first. I think the other stuff is kind of like like Weapons is one, just because I'm very intrigued. The Jurassic World ones, the Nobody, you kind of know what you're going to get from those. I'm interested in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a way, it's kind of like, well, I'm kind of more intrigued by Pedro Pascal and Eddington than I am in Fantastic Four, because I know what that like. Yeah. I don't know what to expect with that. So sometimes it's the filmmaker and the movie more than like, yes, Fantastic Four I hope is cool, but it's still MCU. Like
I'm curious about Superman. I'm curious about Fantastic Four. But as far as like stuff that I'm really looking forward to, it's the smaller scale films that most people probably don't like. I'm dying to see Friendship. I'm gonna go see The Phoenician Scheme. Stoked for Eddington, and then now that we've discovered this Materialist movie, I'm gonna be chomping at the bit to go see that as well.
That's kind of where I'm at, and it's not that the other movies wouldn't be fun, and that is what summer blockbusters are. But I still think you kind of know what you're getting. It's these other ones that kind of go under the radar that that I think are going to be more just more interesting to me.
Anything that we didn't mention that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Honestly, you brought up more than even I have remembered. Now, obviously, as you go in throughout the summer, you're going to be seeing more and more previews and stuff like that. But I will say, of all like the kind of behemoths, I think Superman is kind of the one, because I do want to see what James Gunn is going to do, and this is obviously going to set the bar on kind of what this new DC Studios is going to be, especially if there is another Pattinson Batman, and I know there's talk about Clayface, and I'm just curious because this one really has to hit it out of the park. Like not only just to do Superman movies, but is DC finally going to be an equal to Marvel? Because people are soured out, but Thunderbolts is bringing it back to life. So, I read a thing where Feige apparently had said a lot of the Marvel projects in the recent years felt like homework, and he wanted to go back to where like they're not getting any new fans because it's too much. Yeah, and he's right. And
he is right.
So I wonder if Thunderbolts is kind of that change of pace. We'll see. And that's what Fantastic Four, I think, I will say not that people aren't going to see Fantastic Four anyway, but if you come off Brave New World and Fantastic Four, the enthusiasm wouldn't be the same. But you're coming off Thunderbolts, I think that's a nice little push too.
Yeah, Brave New World very much felt like we already made this movie, we got to get it out. But
Harrison Ford's in it. So
yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, technically Thunderbolts is the last of Phase 5, and
okay, and then that's why okay,
and
right,
so
that makes sense.
I kind of feel like this was them kind of wiping the slate clean. The big multiverse Kang storyline, obviously, because of Jonathan Majors, it kind of feels like they've just had to kind of wrap that up and move in a different direction. Yeah. But I feel like Fantastic Four is going to be that new direction. So that's why I'm kind of excited.
They hired Iron Man, so that'll do it.
I'm excited to see if they can start to recapture some of that magic.
Me too.
Because it's really been difficult these last, like 6 years of this.
I think I like Multiverse of Madness. I'm not saying it did anything for MCU, but I like that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm really having a tough time trying to like figure out the other ones, to be honest.
Even like with the series, I didn't even watch all those. A big fan of some of the stuff that they did, like starting with WandaVision when they started doing the series.
Yes, that was awesome.
I liked the Loki series. I liked too. Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, stuff like that. But even some of those projects were kind of like, they didn't get you feeling the way that the Marvel movies used to make you feel, where you just saw something that was really thrilling for a couple of hours, and then they left you with something that made you feel like you could not wait for the next movie.
Yeah.
And even their better stuff in the last 5 or 6 years has not really made me feel like that until Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And that was when I was kind of like, all right, maybe we've gotten our feet beneath us a little bit.
I was going to say, maybe now that, I just think that multiverse thing ended up being such a headache.
I think it was hard for a lot of like casual movie buffs to really keep up with.
And it does seem like a lame excuse for like a Deadpool Wolverine type movie.
Yeah.
Which I just read Ryan Reynolds is working on a Deadpool and X-Men movie. That's the stuff that like that doesn't do it for me anymore. Like I need a real story.
Yeah.
Like if this is just him fucking around with Beast and stuff, I don't care. Like I don't care.
I'm with you.
So
well, that's gonna do it for our summer preview, 2025 summer at the movies. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm heading out of here. So if you want to hear from me, follow me at Stoney Keeley on Twitter. We're going to be back in a second, and Brandon is going to talk about The Surfer, starring Nicolas Cage, here on the Vick's Flicks podcast.
So this is not one of those that you're going to be hearing about with these summer blockbusters. It's called The Surfer. It has Nicolas Cage in it. It is, per Rotten Tomatoes, in a psychological thriller directed by Lorcan Finnegan. A man returns to the idyllic beach of his childhood to surf with his son, but his desire to hit the waves is thwarted by a group of locals whose mantra is, "Don't live here, don't surf here." Humiliated and angry, the man is drawn into a conflict that keeps rising in concert with the punishing heat of the summer and pushes him to his breaking point. So, in IndieWire's review, it says Nicolas Cage goes mad in this hallucinatory Australian thriller. It says, as he drives, Cage's first lines of dialogue are as follows: "You can't stop a wave, it's pure energy. Born in a storm, way out to sea, brewing and churning for days, weeks, months, sometimes even years. It's all building to this breaking point, a short, sharp shock of violence on the shore, and you either surf it or you get wiped out." He says director Finnegan leaves it for just a few seconds, enough for us to believe that the film's mission statement has been entirely laid out in an unsubtle fashion. After parking the car, Cage says in the movie to his unresponsive son, "That was my best surfing as a metaphor for life speech. I was hoping for a little more enthusiasm." This goes on to say this will mark one of the character's few displays of self-awareness across the feature. I like that because the beginning when he's talking about with the waves and that breaking point, it's, he could very well be talking about himself, even though he doesn't know that as he's pulling up to the beach. The Surfer is a sweaty, sun-kissed, and surreal psychological thriller that grapples with getting wiped out by its own trippy, delusional wave of toxic masculinity, ego, identity, and fragility. Director Finnegan's fever dream is assuredly striking, with gorgeous visuals placing us in a paradise bliss, though that feeling quickly vanishes as anxiety, paranoia, and cruelty comes flooding in, leaving in its wake some strangely disturbing consequences. He should have listened. Don't live here. Don't surf here. Cage, he's delivering another captivating performance as a man. He doesn't have a name in the movie, but he is a man who is unraveling as his dream to come back home, and he's going to buy this house on this beach that he went to as a kid, becomes a fucking nightmare, becoming more unhinged and swirling with vengeance and obsession. This is via The Independent, as Nicolas Cage has spent decades playing himself, but many of the best actors do. Talking about Cage's performance out here, it says, out by the beach, our desperate would-be surfer is coming apart at the seams. He's tangling with the locals and has gone hoarse from shouting. He's a danger to himself and to everyone in his vicinity. This is Cage's stock in trade, honed and perfected in everything from Raising Arizona and Wild at Heart through Joe, Mandy, Pig, and Bad Lieutenant. The man specializes in tragicomic storms and potent displays of impotence. He goes on and says, certainly not Cary Grant or Eastwood or John Wayne, because his characters lack authority and are more about bluster than strength. If they're emblems of anything, it's of chaos and disarray. It goes on to say, but Cage knows what he's doing, even when his alter ego does not. Film acting, he has said, is a little like painting. Most people prefer their pictures to be representational and naturalistic, but there's still room for the occasional mad, abstract canvas with the colors all clashing and everything out of proportion. That's what Cage gives us in The Surfer. Surreal portraiture, a funhouse mirror reflection of himself. This might not count as great acting per se, but as a performance, it's tremendous. And I couldn't agree more. And I think that kind of goes along the lines with a lot of these other movies he's done, like Wally's Wonderland or something like that, where it seems insane, and you don't even know how to interpret it. You feel like most of the time you're just trying to catch up to Cage, which I think is probably humanly impossible at this point. But with the Surfer, as things get worse and worse, you feel like you're losing your mind right along with him as he's being deprived of these comforts that he has been used to, but appears to be for quite a long time. But what is fun about the Surfer is that it really has you questioning everything. Has he been at the beach for as long as he thinks he has? Are these people real? Are they not? Do they remember him? They don't. Is this a trick? He meets this old man who is living out of his car. That relationship gets blurred. And is he actually, like, could he actually be the old man? Are we doing a time-lapse thing? I mean, it's knuck and fuds. But I do like, to a certain degree, of that just being totally unsure of what is actually being presented to you. I also read in Nicolas Cage did an interview with Entertainment Weekly about his surfing lessons apparently ended up more dangerous than anticipated. It says, Cage says, we had things like weather conditions and, believe it or not, shark reports and things, all that shit. I have surfed, but every time I've attempted surfing, I've been pounded to smithereens. And he says, I just got pounded and literally got stuck in the riptide. He's talking about as he was training for the movie. He's like, I'm climbing up the leash as I'm somersaulting, and I could have died. What is crazy to me is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I almost guarantee I don't think there is a single scene of Cage surfing in this movie. It's called The Surfer, and rightfully so, because that's kind of his identity, and just that's all he really wants to do with his son. But I really don't think they ever actually surf. There's a point where he gets in the water, but I don't think he's surfing, because the whole point is you don't live here, you don't surf here. So back to the movie. Finnegan, that's the director, and writer Thomas Martin do an incredible job at keeping us in this dreamlike phase for most of the movie. Unfortunately, they have us meandering, and there's a lot of things that do eventually feel quite repetitive. They have us meandering too much in the middle with a weak climax that should have erupted instead of fizzling out. The Surfer comes to a boiling point, and you're ready for it to explode. Like you've kind of been tossed around and kind of pummeled to smithereens in your own right after trying to keep up and trying to make sense of it all. But it doesn't. And I mean, at least not in the way that I was hoping for. The discovery just isn't as exciting as I think other possibilities that could have been explored. And some may predict it, as there is a brief backstory that's mentioned in one of the characters that kind of sounded out of place, as in like, oh, I think that, but it could serve as a major hint. And if you do watch The Surfer, and I think you can probably pick it up, especially by the time you watch the end, you're like, oh, I guess I should have seen that coming. Either way, it's still, The Surfer is still a fascinating watch, but the pathos of the story and its protagonist that tries to come into focus at the end about kind of the situation, like where you lose everything before appreciating everything, it kind of drowns in the madness of it all. But it's still, I mean, I don't know if there's ever a movie that Nicolas Cage isn't captivating. And whether it's for right or wrong reasons, I can't answer that. But performance-wise, I don't think Nicolas Cage will ever let you down. It may not be what you want or expect, but the man ain't the man's going full steam ahead, and he's, hey, he's doing his thing, and I will never fault the guy for that. So this is called The Surfer. It's getting a VixFlix rating of 2.5 out of 5. Catch it. It's still it's in Regal. It's in AMC. It's also playing here locally in Nashville at the Bell Court. And that's it. So summer blockbusters are a coming, and a little movie, a strange little movie called The Surfer is already here that you can catch up. You can catch on, that you can catch. I'll leave it at that. Don't forget to catch all of our work at NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com, and we'll see you next time on the VixFlix podcast. Bye.